Hello learners and welcome to this module on hotel pricing strategies and policies. I am Dr. Saurabh Kumar Dikshit from Department of Tourism and Hotel Management, Northeastern University, Shillong. In this module, we will be debating on hotel pricing and its fixation on different occasions. These decisions are very helpful in the effective marketing of the hospitality products. After the completion of this session, you will be able to understand the significance of pricing strategies in hospitality marketing. You will be able to understand the basis of charging hotel tariff. You will also be able to comprehend the factors affecting pricing decisions in the hotel. You will be able to know the different pricing methods which are adopted by the hotel. Let us start the discussion with the introduction. In the modern scenario, the revenue manager give a lot of attention to their price as well as competitors' pricings. They then use this information to have a better competition of the demand for their hotels. Consumers are themselves looking at your prices as well as competitors' prices, though they are using this information to assess value. But that is what eventually drives them to make a decision. Therefore, if a revenue manager do not account for value, their equations for the perfect pricing remains unfurnished. Pricing strategy involves a holistic approach on pricing, examining pricing decision with an aim to optimize a hotel's profits through creating and retaining customers. Each pricing decision has an opportunity to highlight the stakeholders' importance in the decision-making process. A majority of marketing mix elements are related to the expenses, whereas pricing remains the only element among them which generates revenue for the hotel. A comparison between price and the other elements of marketing strategy will reveal price as the most useful element. Now we are going to discuss about the significance of the pricing. Here we are going to talk about how the pricing plays an important role in the marketing for the hospitality products and services. The significance of setting the right price cannot be understated. The profits of our firms are directly affected by the pricing fixed by the organization to its different products. Even for the non-profit organizations, the resources of the firms and the ability to serve its constituents both are affected by the pricing decision that the firm usually make. It is not uncommon to find that the customers refusing to purchase goods and services that are priced too high. This will result in not only to relinquish market share to its competitors, but it will also demote hotels to many potential customers, as the customers will now find more affordable rates from the competitors in the same market, leading to the firms to surrender the market share to the competitors. The low volume of sales will ultimately result in the market connection being lost, and both potential and actual investors will be hesitant to be associated with the firm that has declining financial returns. The hotel will sooner or later find itself lowering its prices in an effort to recapture market attention through it, though it may be too late for them to make this decision. Furthermore, there might be potential public relation challenges and regulatory ramifications as customers' sentiment turns negative because of this exercise. The pre-encounter marketing scenario presents itself before the customer meets, or we can also say when the encounter takes place in between the customers and the producers and the service providers. They comprises of marketing communications such as advertising, selling, price listing, and different kind of brochures where the information about the products is usually given. Basically, pre-encounter marketing mix can be divided into three sections. Three stages are there in that. Pre-encounter marketing mix, it is always about to influence the customer's expectations. So during this stage, the customer expectations are developed. So customers usually on the basis of the information which is there in the market, which is there in the the different kind of sources from they used to get some kind of information about the product, and they used to develop some kind of perception about the value that they are going to get. So then once they get the product, when they purchase the product, at that time encounter marketing mix usually happens. So it happens at the point of sale of the product. Marketers' purpose during this stage is to avoid producing customer dissatisfaction. So whenever the product is being used by the consumers, they used to be satisfied. The values that they are getting from the product, that should be as per their expectations. Now the third stage of this marketing mix is post-encounter marketing mix. It is designed to influence the customers after their service experiences. So basically, after the feeling of the product, after the experiencing a product, the consumer should be feel satisfied, and they should be contented with the quality of the product that they have obtained. The above stages also contribute immensely in the development of the consumer perceptions in hospitality products and services price. Now we are going to discuss about the basis of charging room tariff. Basically, here we are going to discuss the different kind of criteria that usually hotel adopt in order to charge the price from their customers. So the policies of charging tariff differ from hotel to hotel. We are now elaborating some of the common basis of charging tariff by the hotel. So the first and foremost thing that we are going to discuss is the 12 noon check-in or check-out basis. So most of the hotel, they used to charge the room rate on the basis of 12 noon check-in and check-out. It is commonly found in the hotels, and the hotel usually fix 12 noon as check-in or check-out time. So 12 noon is accepted as most common and convenient for both hotel and guest as check-in and check-out time. Going by this notion, a guest will be charged for one day provided that he or she checks in at the hotel in time decided by the hotel and checks out next day at the same time. Otherwise, he or she will be charged for the 2 days if he or she exceeds the duration beyond 12 noon. Similarly, some hotels usually charge on the basis of 24 hours. So it is also called 24-hour basis of charging room tariff. Some hotels are the time when the guest checks into the hotel. So from that time, the hotel usually allows the guests to stay for 24 hours. So if they are staying more than 24 hours, then they will be charged for the 2 days. Otherwise, they will be charged for 1 day only. Now, in some hotels, they usually use the number of nights spent in the hotel. So on that basis, they usually charge from the guest. So basically, under this case, if the guest spends 2 nights into the hotel, then he or she will be charged for 2 days. And if he or she stays for 3 nights, then he or she will be charged for 3 days. So this is on the basis of number of night basis. Now another kind of basis is the day use. In this scenario, a guest wants to stay in a room at a hotel for few hours only, maximum for 6 hours. So these guests are charged room rent on the basis of the day, irrespective of their check-in or check-out time. So this kind of scenario is usually found in different hotels. Different hotels, on the basis of the kind of clientele that they are going to cater, on that basis they usually decide on which criteria they are going to adopt to fix the room tariff. Now another factors that we are going to discuss, they are the factors affecting the room tariff. There are certain factors which are important for the hotels to decide the room tariff. So some factors we are going to discuss here. So first and foremost factor is the cost. Cost is basically the total amount of investment that is gone into providing services and products to the ultimate consumers of the hotel services is known as the total cost in that particular product or service. The higher room rates are generally an indication of the high investment that has been made in the hotel property. Now another important factor is the level of service. Basically, a hotel is found to charge high room rate than in comparison to its competitors. If it is found to be capable of offering the guests even better or more services like spa, gymnasium, banquet or specialty restaurants, so in that case they used to charge higher amount from the customers. Another important criteria is the amenities. Like in the level of services, if the hotel is capable of providing more amenities in the room, it will be able to charge higher amount from the customers. So they may have the higher tariff if they are having more amenities inside the rooms. Another important criteria is the food. The choices available in the hotel menu will also play a significant role in determining the room rates. For example, the guests are commonly found to seek out the exclusive items to a particular region where they usually stay. So if they are able to provide some kind of exclusive local kind of food to the customer, so the guest is ready to pay more amount for those food items also. Another important criteria is the competition prevailing there. So as the number of competitor hotels in the geographical location increases, the room rates at these properties are generally seen to come down in order to get the advantage over each other. So if competition is more, then room rates are usually low in that region. If number of hotels are less, then the rates are usually higher in that region. Now another criteria is the target market. The hotel identifies its target market, and the pricing of the rooms are done on the basis of the target market that the hotel is catering to. Depending upon the spending power of its target guests, room rates are usually set in the hotels. Another very important criteria is the location. Location of the hotel also play a significant role in the determination of the room tariff of the hotel properties. For example, it is quite common to find most expensive room rates at the hotel near the famous tourist attractions or nearby picturesque locations such as seaside rooms overlooking mountains and valleys. Now another very important factor is the surrounding area. The availability of the resources in the area plays a vital role in the determination of the room rates. If the hotel is forced to procure some items from quite far away places, the cost involved are adjusted into the pricing so that it maintains the reasonable return of investment from the guests also. Now we are going to discuss about different kind of room tariff of the hotel. So like different hotels offer different kind of room tariff to suit the requirement of different kind of customers. So basically here we are going to discuss about different kind of room tariff which are usually found into the hotel. The room rates at a hotel differ on room size, location, view, furnishing, amenities. So we are now discussing some of the commonly found room tariff or room rates. In general terminology, it is also called the room rates. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the rack rate. So it is the highest possible rate for each category of room. Rack rate is determined by the management. They are basically based on the different kind of room sizes, location, views, furnishing, amenities that the guest will be provided, and number of pets which are allowed to be stayed in a particular room. So these are the room rate, rack rates. Then special rates. Some hotels during the lower occupancy period, they usually offer some kind of discounted rates to fulfill the requirement of entertaining the guest. So these discounted rates are usually offered to certain occasions, maybe during the lean season. So it increases the demand and maintains the profitability of the hotel during the lean season. Now the corporate rates are also there. The corporate rates are usually 10 to 20% below the rack rate. So basically, in order to cater the corporate tourists, in order to cater the business clientele, hotels usually offer the corporate rates to them. So these are usually 10 to 20% below the rack rates. Another important type of rates are the package rate. These are generally all-inclusive rates that cover accommodation, foods, transportation, sightseeing, and entertainment activities. So rather than For one night, these rates are usually covered over a period of time. Maybe, for example, it is for 3 nights and 4 days. In that way, usually hotels develop the package rate so that the clientele may avail them when as per their requirements. Another important kind of rate is the seasonal rate. According to the varying seasonality, hotels may offer peak rates and the off-season rates. So, like on the basis of the requirement of the customers, on the basis of the need of the customers, these seasonal rates are also offered by different hotels. Now, another kind of rates are the advance purchase rates. These rates are offered for a booking done well in advance. The discounts are based on how much in advance the booking are made by the guest. These rates are common at hotels offering different rates for weekdays and weekends depending on the occupancy figures of that particular hotel. Another important kind of rate is the day and half day rates. It is the rate offered when a guest books for a small period during daytime or books the room for the just few hours. So on the basis of that, the hotel usually charge the amount from their customers. Another kind of rate are the group rates. It is the discounted room rate that is dependent on the number of rooms booked under a single reservation. Normally, a group booking has 15 guests or more than that. Based on the discretion of the management policy, one room may be given on complimentary basis to the group leader also. Now we are going to discuss the tour rates. The tour operators and travel agents are given special discounted rates as they are the normal wholesalers and who operate series of tours for group arriving and departing together from one particular destinations. Another important rate which is found in this category, that is called the company guaranteed rates. In short, it is called CGR. This discounted rate is offered to those companies which provide regular business to the hotels. Another important rate are the company volume guaranteed rates. In short, it is called CVGR. Certain hotels give a special discounted rates to those companies that contribute a large volume of number of rooms booked in the properties. The higher volume of business, the higher is the percentage of discount which is usually given to these companies. These special rates offered are called company volume guaranteed rate, or in short it is called CVGR. Another category of rates is the employee rate, the discounted rate offered by the hotel or chain hotels to their employees. So there will be a limited number of rooms blocked for the employees as the availability of rooms depend on the guest occupancies. Another kind of rate is the government rates. These discounted rates are given to the government officials who travel for the official purposes to certain destinations. Another kind of rates are the educational rates. The reduced rates offered to the students and educationists that travel on a limited budget to certain destinations. Another kind of rates are the membership rates. The discounted rate at which the hotels offer either their more influential or regular guests. Another kind of rates in this category are the introductory rate. These are the rates when a new hotel property is opened at certain place. So at that time the management usually offer a reduced rates until they feel that the hotel has established itself in the market. This reduced rates is usually that's why it is called the introductory rate. Complimentary rate. This is the another category of rate. So under this situation, the hotel does not charge the room rent from the customers. These rates are generally offered to tour or group leaders or the other commercially important personnels. Another kind of rate under this category are the airline or crew discounts. Airlines are found to offer their crew members to stay at hotel under which they have entered into the contract with the airlines. Similarly, they come to an agreement between them to facilitate the stay for their passengers in case of the layover. In the most cases, the crew stays only for few hours in these hotel properties. Now we are going to discuss about different pricing methods which are usually adopted by the hotel. So it is usually pricing is usually understood the least important marketing variable. Yes, yet pricing can be manipulated in an unregulated market. In most scenarios, pricing changes are not done in scientific manner. It is usually found. These changes are intended as quick fixes and are often made without any proper analysis. Usually, the most common mistakes include pricing that it is too much cost oriented, prices that are not revised to reflect the market changes, pricing that does not take the rest of the marketing mix into the account, and pricing that are not varied enough for different products, items, and market segments. A pricing mistake can lead to a business failure even when other elements of the business are sound. Like every manager should understand the basics of pricing. So these are certain important facts relating to the pricing of a particular product. Now we are going to discuss about different kind of pricings which are usually adopted by the hotel. So in that context, the first pricing is the cost-based pricing. So we are now going to discuss the cost-based pricing. In this pricing approach, the room tariff or the rates of the hotel is usually determined in such a manner that final price covers the basic cost of operations at a particular standard services, plus the pre-decided percentage of return on the investment. Fixed and marginal costs are added to get the total cost. The manager then adds an appropriate profit margins. The cost-based pricing approach is meant to cover all costs incurred in the making of the product, and it also maintains healthy profit margins. In other words, it will be the total cost plus desired profit percentage that will be making the selling price of that particular product. The following merits are found in cost-based pricing method. It is very simple method. Markets and competitors based studies and examinations of other pricing influential factors are absent in this kind of pricing. It is also quite popular with the managers as the information required to determine the pricing is made available to them internally. They need not to go outside to get the information relating to this kind of pricing. Usually two cost-based pricing techniques are found in the hotels. First is the rule of thumb approach, another is the Hubbard formula. Now we are going to discuss about rule of thumb approach. It is the oldest and most traditional cost-based pricing techniques. This rule follows the ratio of 1:1000. For example, if a hotel spends rupees 20 lakhs in constructing its rooms, the room rate will be set at rupees 20,000. The rate is determined as rupees 1 for each thousand of the construction and furnishing cost per room, while assuming 70% occupancy of the hotel. The main drawback of this technique is that it fails to consider the factors such as inflation, competition, and fixed expenses that the hotel is incurring in its operations. It also does not consider elevation of the land cost and depreciation of its assets. This approach also fails to consider unexpected expenses and contributions from the other departments. The rule of thumb approach also takes into consideration the financial and social status of the guest. The tariff also reflects the standards of services offered, as the quality and uniqueness of the services will ultimately affect the profitability. And the room rates are directly proportional to the level of services which are usually offered by the companies. Another kind of the rates formula is the Hubbard formula. In 1940, the Roy Hubbard from USA developed a scientific method to determine the room rent. It was developed to resolve the shortcomings of the traditional rule of thumb approach, which in turn was becoming an outdated and unscientific method of determining the room rates. There are several steps involved in the Hubbard formula. Now we are going to discuss these steps. The first step include the calculation of the total investment. It includes the owner's capital and the loan which the owner is going to take in order to make that business. Now, in the next step, the calculation of return of investment is done. So, where like a total investment and the return percentage on that investment is calculated. Under the second step, the calculation of total expenses is also taken into consideration. So it usually comprises of depreciation, interest expenses, property taxes, insurances, different kind of, if the building has mortgaged, so rents and other management fees, it is taken into consideration. So total expenses includes operating expenses, taxes, insurance, interest paid on loans, and depreciations on book values. These are taken into account. In the third step, calculation of gross operating revenue is usually done. So gross operating revenue is the sum of the total expenses and return on investment. In the next step, that means fourth step, calculation of revenue generation from room sales alone by subtracting the revenue generated by all sources other than rooms from the gross operating revenue. It has to be calculated. In the fifth step, the total number of rooms available during a particular year has to be calculated. So it has to be calculated by multiplying the number of days in a year with the total number of rooms that the hotel is having. Now the next thing that we need to consider, like we need to calculate the average daily rates. Under this, in order to calculate average daily rate, basically we need to divide the average number of rooms available and revenue generated by the room sales. It has to be, by means of that we need to calculate average daily rate. It is also called ADR in brief. Now the another important pricing pattern that is usually followed in the hotel, it is the market based pricing. In market based pricing, the prices are set based on the perceived value of the product in the eyes of the customers. For instance, a hotel will initially set the price for the room at the rate which is comfortable for the guest. Then the hotel will work its way backward to accommodate all its expenses, mainly by cutting down its cost and a reasonable rate of return into that price. Some of the generally used methods of market based pricing are basically it is done first of all we are going to talk about the first method. It is as per the competition. So in this scenario, the hotels usually sets a comparable price to some products as its competitors usually offer in that particular geographical region. So on the basis of the competitors prices, on the basis of the competitors rates, the hotel usually fix their prices. Another important category or another important criteria is the market tolerance. In this approach, a hotel chooses to call up and inquire about the competitors' room rates without disclosing their identity. So on the basis of the market's trends, on the basis of the market rates, they usually decide their rates. Now another important scenario, it is the rate cutting. In this scenario, the hotel lowers the rates to increase the occupancy level, and most common during the off-season period. So during off-season period, the hotels usually reduce their rates in order to increase the guest arrival to the hotel. Another important basis is the inclusive and non-inclusive rate. The pricing is based on whether the meals are included or not included in the room rates which is being offered by the hotel. Another kind of pricing is the prestige pricing. In this method, products and prices are fixed much higher than those of the other competing hotels. The notion behind is that if something is expensive, then it should be good. Now, dear learners, we are going to sum up what we have learned during this session. So, in this session, we have discussed the significance of pricing in the start of our deliberations. After that, we have discussed about the basis of charging room tariff. In that, we have discussed 12 noon check-in, check-out time basis. Then we have discussed about the 24 hours basis of charging room tariff. Then we have discussed number of nights basis Then we have discussed the day use basis of charging room tariff. After that, we have covered different kind of factors that affect the room tariff. So in that we have talked about cost, level of services, amenities, food, competition, target markets, location and surrounding areas. After that we have discussed about different kind of pricing methods which are usually adopted by the hotel. So in that we have talked about cost based pricing, where we have covered rule of thumb approach of pricing. After that we have covered the Hubbard formula of pricing room. After that, like, we have discussed about the market based pricing. So under the market based pricing we have discussed the different kind of pricing on the basis of the competition based on the market tolerance. We have also covered the pricing on the basis of the rate cutting. Then inclusive and non-inclusive rates we have discussed. Then we have also talked about the prestige pricing in our discussion. I hope that the learner will be able to garner understanding on the pricing of accommodation products after studying the present module. Thank you very much.